I first encountered horizontal stitches in Vivian Høxbro's beautiful traditional Danish sweaters, link below. They were used with other traveling stitches to ornament traditional textured stars. Most knitting stitches follow the vertical or column grain of the fabric. However, horizontal stitches, as the name suggests, turn 90 degrees and therefore follow the horizontal grain. They look wonderful in conjunction with other sorts of traveling stitches. Horizontal stitches are most often worked across a ground of reverse stockinette stitch, and are best worked in the round rather than flat. They'll also look best if worked at a very firm or even a tight gauge, otherwise you're liable to have a noticeable gap between the horizontal row and the row that follows it. You may find that you need to go down 1 or even 2 needle sizes to achieve the best look. You can also help to minimize this gap by working with a springy, bouncy fiber like wool that will fluff up and even out after a good wet blocking. Can you work these horizontal stitches on a ground of stockinette stitch? Certainly. However, if you do, note that you will always have a row of elongated stitches, highlighted here in green, above your horizontal stitches. And these elongated stitches will vary noticeably from the other background stitches, a few of which are highlighted here in pink. If your gauge is not very tight, these elongated stitches may become so open that they'll look almost like lace. As always, try it out in a swatch to see if you like what you get. We begin a run of horizontal stitches with a setup that is done only once. We're going to do a single increase by knitting into the front and then into the back of the stitch. This will prevent an odd gap at the beginning of our fabric. Now we're ready to move on to the stitches themselves. Now that we're set up, let's work the horizontal stitches. The first step will always be to take the first stitch on the right needle and slip it to the left needle. No need to twist or otherwise manipulate it, just slip as if to purl. Now things get really fun and interesting. From the back of the work, slip the tip of the right needle into the second stitch on the left needle and knit it through the back. Now, return to the front of the work and knit the first stitch on the needle, and then both those stitches come off the left needle, and we have worked one horizontal stitch. We'll take another look at that. Step 1, slip from right to left. Step 2, knit from the back into the second stitch. And step 3, knit from the front into the first stitch, and then both stitches off the needle. That completes another horizontal stitch. It looks awkward, I realize, and it's going to feel awkward at first, but once you have practiced it a little bit, you'll find that it becomes quite fluent, really. At the end of the run, there's one final step. Since we began with an increase by knitting front and back, when we finish the run of horizontal stitches, we must decrease by knitting 2 together. This prevents a gap at the end of the run and also brings us back to our original stitch count. It's easy to forget, so pay close attention. On the following round, as you work above your horizontal stitches, it's common to see the gap that forms, but don't fret about it, because provided you have a good firm gauge, as the work relaxes and you move past your horizontal row, you will see that gap close up, like so. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now, go try some yourself. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel so you'll be the first to know about future episodes. Click like or leave me a comment to let me know your thoughts. And if you really, really liked what you saw, check out my Patreon campaign, where my patrons enjoy exclusive access to downloads, live streams, and other bonus material every week.